Every year, in early March, tea buds in the Wuyi Mountains, southeast China's Fujian province, begin to sprout, and tiny new shoots are starting to emerge. Amid the tea plants, rapeseed is grown. At this time, one woman of average height and with a small hoe in her hand arrives to check the plants. But she's not a farmer. Rather, she is a renowned agricultural scientist in China. Her name is Liao Hong. Actually, planting rapeseed between tea rows is not a traditional practice for local tea farmers. The relationship between rapeseed and tea plants goes beyond many people's understanding. It is one of Liao Hong's innovative agricultural experiments.
Rapeseed planted between tea plants encourages the tea roots to grow toward the direction of the rapeseed roots. Rapeseed has fine roots with many root hairs clustered together. These roots secrete substances that release phosphorus and potassium fixed in the soil, nutrients essential for tea plants. Thus, rapeseed roots help tea plants absorb these nutrients.
In fact, Liao Hong has been studying root biology for nearly 30 years. Because her research focuses on plants and agriculture, she often works in the fields with a hoe, earning her the nickname the hoe-wielding female scientist. She doesn't just conduct experiments in the lab or teach in classrooms. More often, she's dressed like a farmer, digging in the fields to examine the roots of various plants.
When we travel for work, we always carry a small hoe or shovel. Whenever I see plants in the fields, I dig around their edges to take a look and study their roots.
Her decades of diligent research have yielded abundant achievements, earning her numerous titles and awards. She has published over 200 papers in academic journals and has been listed for 3 consecutive years in the Essential Science Indicators database as a highly cited researcher in global plant science and agriculture. She is a recipient of the National Science Fund for Distinguished Young Scholars, one of the most important natural science research programs in China. She also serves as an outstanding agricultural researcher designated by the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs. Plant roots are Liao Hong's primary research focus, and nurturing bean roots is her signature on her personal social media account. Before coming to the Wuyi Mountains to study tea roots, she spent her academic and research career in the South China Agricultural University, which is based in Guangdong Province. Being a pioneer in the field of root biology in China, at the age of 34, she became the youngest professor and doctoral advisor in Guangdong Province at the time. In later years, the young professor's academic career continued to shine as she led her team to construct the world's first genetic map of soybean phosphorus efficiency based on massive field experimental data. With this research, Professor Liao and her team created the world's first batch of soybean germplasm with improved phosphorus efficiency through root modification. Yet, a decade ago, at the age of 46, Liao Hong felt a sense of regret in her academic work.
When you've published many papers and received numerous academic honors, you sometimes ask yourself, what's the real use of all this? I've studied so many scientific questions, but they haven't been applied in agricultural practice. I felt quite lost. At South China Agricultural University, I was in a comfort zone, having reached a top-tier position in academia for my age, but I wanted to step out and see if my work was truly needed in the fields.
In the summer of 2015, Liao Hong recruited a dozen undergraduate volunteers from her university to conduct research in the Wuyi Mountains tea-growing region in Fujian province, which is to the northeast of Guangdong. She called the group the Young and Fearless Team. During their survey, Liao Hong found that due to large-scale land reclamation and tea cultivation, the local tea farms commonly suffered from low nutrient efficiency, soil degradation, declining fertility, and erosion.
I thought to myself, such a beautiful place. If tea cultivation ruins the environment just to increase yields, it would be a shame. What if I could find a way to stabilize tea yields, improve tea quality, and protect the environment at the same time? Wouldn't that be better?
Trying to answer these questions, the daring woman scientist had a bold idea.
I noticed that tea roots have a lovely scent. They smell like soybeans, with a bean-like fragrance. Tea plants need nitrogen fertilizers the most. The soybeans I've been studying are highly efficient in absorbing nutrients and can fix nitrogen biologically. I thought, if I plant soybeans alongside tea plants, we could reduce the use of nitrogen fertilizers. My initial simple idea was just to cut down on the use of nitrogen fertilizers for the tea plants.
Intercropping with soybeans is a traditional practice in Chinese agriculture, developed because farmers observed that soybeans improve soil fertility and provide nutrients for intercropped plants. However, soybeans dislike acidic soil, and most of the soil in Fujian province happens to be acidic. Previously, agricultural scientists worldwide generally believed that soybeans capable of nitrogen fixation couldn't grow in soil with a pH below 4.5, like the soil in Fujian.
I searched through all the papers published in the last 20 years in both English and Chinese and found no solutions. There was almost no research on how to maintain soil fertility, promote root growth, reduce fertilizer use, and still maintain stable yields and quality. To me, it was like discovering a new continent, so I decided to innovate.
In November 2015, Liao Hong left Guangdong province and joined Fujian Agriculture and Forestry University as the director and chief scientist of its root biology research center. This new role gave her a better platform and opportunities to do research in order to find solutions to the agricultural problem she posed to herself. The scientist immersed herself in the Wuyi Mountains, providing technical guidance for a 40-hectare tea farm. Thus began an agricultural experiment that would ultimately transform the local tea farming industry.
The earliest experiment started on the hillside tea farm. I divided the farm into small plots for comparative experiments. First, I screened my soybean resources, then planted them on the farm. I tested dozens of soybean varieties.
Through the experiment, Liao Hong validated the effectiveness of tea-soybean intercropping. However, when she tried to promote this tested and effective method to local farmers, she was misunderstood as trying to sell soybeans to them. Undeterred, she patiently explained the benefits to them to gain their cooperation.
At first, most of the local tea farmers didn't believe me, but I love hiking and chatting with farmers. I'm a strong climber and often go to places most people don't visit. Some tea farmers were impressed and talked to me. I would say to them, look, you're using herbicides or manual labor to clear weeds. If you plant soybeans here, you won't need to weed anymore. Older tea farmers told me that before the adoption of chemical fertilizers, they used soybean, peanut, or rapeseed residue as fertilizers. I told them, think about it. Planting soybeans is even better than applying soybean residue. It's like fertilizing every day. I've talked to at least 100 tea farmers in the Wuyi Mountains. Eventually, I found some who were willing to work with me.
Hershey An, a native tea grower, was persuaded and became one of her earliest collaborators.
At the time, I told Professor Liao I don't use chemical fertilizers or pesticides in growing my tea. She replied, if you keep this up long term, your tea plants might become weak. I thought I was pursuing a new farming practice that does not harm nature, but I was violating the law of conservation of energy. just harvesting tea leaves without replenishing nutrients, the plants might hold up for a few years, but they'd grow weaker over time. After checking my tea farm, Professor Liao diagnosed the issues like a traditional Chinese doctor, observing, listening, and examining. Her professionalism and generosity convinced me.
To cope with acidic soil, Professor Liao Hong developed soybean varieties that thrive in such conditions while efficiently fixing nitrogen. She further enhanced their nitrogen-fixing ability by inoculating them with rhizobia. After solving the issue of how to make soybeans survive in acidic soil, she proposed a green cultivation model for tea farming, intercropping soybeans in summer and rapeseed in winter.
The rapeseed and soybeans I plant among tea plants are all for the benefit of the tea. When rapeseed blooms, it attracts many insects and bees, which benefit the tea plants. The insects feed and compete with each other, drawing natural predators that help suppress pests.
The first 3 years of this experiment were a trial and error process for both Liao Hong and the local tea farmers. Initially, weeds were rampant in the experimented tea farms, but Liao Hong banned the use of herbicides. The tea farmers could only get rid of the weeds manually. Thus, some of her collaborators became irritated and wanted to quit. But He Xian chose to keep going.
If you choose to trust, you must persevere. For my tea farm, the first year showed little change, but by the second year, the difference was obvious. Throughout this process, I never wavered. I might have been even stricter than Professor Liao. When pests surged due to hot weather, she was worried about infestation, but I insisted on using no pesticides. After another year, the pests and tea plants reached a balance. They coexisted.
These good results in Mr. He's farm gradually aroused curiosity from his fellow tea growers. As time passed, they grew to trust Professor Liao more and more, frequently seeking her advice.
I visit different tea growing areas at particular time periods every year to observe tea farms and talk with local farmers. They ask questions like, is this kind of tea plant different from that kind? Does this kind of tea plant need special care? Should they be pruned? The more questions they ask, the more work I have to do.
All these questions and others prompted Liao Hong and her team to work harder. She found out that for tea farmers, pursuing high-quality leaves, suitable soil and proper fertilization are fundamental. However, conventional organic fertilizers on the market are generic in nutrient ratios and don't fully meet tea plants' needs. After rounds of experiments, Liao Hong and her team developed a specialized bio-organic fertilizer tailored to tea plants, replacing chemical and other organic fertilizers.
Using our organic fertilizers, tea yields are higher than with generic organic fertilizers, but about 10% lower than with chemical fertilizers. However, the quality of tea leaves improves significantly. Every month, I collect samples to track changes. During harvest, our students join the farmers in picking tea leaves. After processing, I invite tea tasters to evaluate the product and conduct tests using machines. The results confirm that my method offers the optimal result.
After 3 years, the tea quality in the experimental tea farms improved markedly. Liao Hong then expanded the tea-soybean intercropping model to the Yangtze Ke Ecological Tea Farm for further testing and demonstration. The tea farm is located in Xingcun Town, Wuyi City. It covers 66.7 hectares in the core production area of Wuyi Rock Tea, a kind of high-quality oolong tea known for its unique, rocky flavor. With prior experience, her work went smoother this time as her innovative tea farming method was able to significantly help improve the quality of tea.
Tea farmers are pragmatic. When they see others succeed, they want to imitate them. For Wuyi rock tea, quality matters most. High-quality tea can be priced 10 times than that of ordinary tea, while yield may only be 10% less by adopting my farming method. So, they prioritize quality.
For the farmers working with her, Liao Hong gave meticulous on-site technical guidance while enforcing strict supervision.
My eyes are sharp. I've seen many tea farms. From a distance, I can spot differences between them. For the farms working with us, we use GPS tracking, and I inspect them in person. If I detect issues, I address them immediately. If you agree to work with me, you must follow my method. No random pesticide or fertilizer use, especially no herbicides. Violate the rules once or twice, I'll issue warnings. A third violation means canceling our cooperation.
Today, the Yangtze Ke Ecological Tea Farm has been designated as a national demonstration site for sustainable agricultural development. In December 2020, Fujian's Provincial Department of Agriculture and Rural Affairs promoted the tea-soybean intercropping model across the province. Undoubtedly, this success has been hard-won, and Professor Liao Hong cherishes it very much. But she takes more pride in her team's paper published in the English-language Journal of Integrative Plant Biology, an influential academic journal in both China and abroad. Their paper is titled Aluminium is Essential for Root Growth and Development of Tea Plants. The study was the first to propose that, beyond the 14 essential mineral nutrients for plants, aluminium is a vital nutrient for tea root growth and development. The humble woman scientist credits this scientific breakthrough to the farmers with whom she has worked.
This is a seminal discovery. It means I can accelerate tea root growth. While roots normally take a year and a half to develop in the field, my lab achieves it within a month. Farmers contributed greatly to this research. Tea plants propagate via cuttings, which require robust root growth. Farmers told me only newly reclaimed red soil works. I realized red soil is acidic. Does tea need aluminum? Experiments confirmed it. In a way, farmers educated me. Their ancestral wisdom passed down for generations holds value. I never dismiss traditional wisdom. I always ask, why? My first lesson came from farmers. Traditional Chinese farming practices are worth studying.
To date, Liao Hong and her team have helped establish almost 700 hectares of high-quality ecological tea farms in Fujian province. She has also collaborated with local agricultural experts to adapt intercropping techniques to pomelos and rice. For Liao Hong, the past decade was arduous but immensely rewarding.
I feel truly fortunate. Traditional field research requires renting land and self-managing crops, costly endeavors. Now, I provide solutions. Hundreds of tea farmers assist me. Some wonder why I do so much for modest pay. I don't know the earnings of the farmers working with me. It's their secret. But their warmth toward me suggests they have a good income. Farmers are practical. If they have lost money, they would have ignored me. In the Wuyi Mountains, I'm proud that my visits often draw enthusiastic crowds. Sometimes a whole village comes out to greet me.
For Liao Hong, this satisfaction surpasses the thrill of publishing papers.
It's a different sense of fulfillment. In my youth, I cherished more about my academic breakthroughs and publications on journals. Now, the source of my joy is simpler and more connected with farmland. The smiles of farmers bring me profound contentment.
With that, we conclude this edition of Footprints. Thanks for listening. I'm Bob Jones. If you're interested in hearing more about the lives of ordinary but incredible people in China, follow us on your favorite podcast platforms. Just key in footprints and you can find more stories anytime, anywhere. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.